Hi guys, the DVSA have recently released some statistics based on driving tests and theory tests over the last year, and how this, which won't mention the word as this video could get demonetised, has affected learning to drive. I'm also going to go through how driving lessons might be affected in the near future, and also what the DVSA are doing in response to this, and also what you can be doing. So let's get started. Let's start with practical tests, and the links to all this information is in the description below. For the last 3 financial years, this has been the average number of tests, with an average pass rate of 46%. For the current tax year to date, there's been this number of tests, and a pass rate of 49.8%. Now bear in mind these statistics do not include January 1st to April the 5th. They're from April the 6th, 2020 to December the 31st, 2020. However, the statistics won't be skewed much, as between January 1st and April 5th, not many tests will have been conducted. It was in a full national lockdown, and only emergency driving tests were available, and they have been very strict of who could have those. Basically only emergency workers. The DVSA claim there's only a backlog, I say only, of 420,000 practical tests, with an average 20-week waiting time. However, according to the average statistics, there's actually been more than 1.2 million fewer tests in the last tax year. So I'm not really sure why there's such a difference. Possibly are the DVSA only taking into account tests they've cancelled. They're not taking into account tests that people would have booked but didn't due to lockdowns, the system not working, as that happened quite a lot during the first lockdown, and even at the moment. Or perhaps people who put learning to drive on hold for financial reasons, or just while all of this stuff essentially blows over. The pass rate, however, has improved by 3.8%. Was this possibly because people are more determined to pass their test, due to the possibility of long waiting times if they fail? So, here's some key points for theory tests. So, for the last 3 financial tax years, an average of just over 1.8 million theory tests each year. Average pass rate 47.69%. And for the current tax year to date, there's been just over 460,000, and pass rate 56.4%. As before, it's only from April the 6th, 2020 to December the 31st, 2020, but shouldn't be skewed too much due to only emergency tests in those other months. And the DVSA say there's a backlog of 380,000 theory tests, yet on average there's just over 1.3 million fewer theory tests conducted. Are the DVSA just talking about cancelled tests? Not really sure. They haven't clarified where they got that figure from. However, the pass rate's improved quite a lot, by 8.71%. Again, are people more determined to pass, due to the long wait if they fail? Let's look at driving lessons. Now, firstly, between 2003 and 2012, the birth rate shot up quite substantially. If you look at the graph on the left here, you can see the birth rate in 2002, then in 2003 it went up, again in 2004, and it kept going up until, let's say, about 2012, then it started to drop back down. Now, what this basically means is there's going to be a lot more 17-year-olds looking for driving lessons in the next 10 years. And in 2011, there were 47,000 driving instructors apparently. And in September 2020, there were only 38,642. So nearly 10,000 fewer driving instructors. Quite a big drop. So there is going to be lots of demand for driving lessons, and possibly long waiting lists. However, in the last year, there were no doubt lots of redundancies. Could this mean more people training to be a driving instructor? As to be a driving instructor, you don't have to have any previous qualifications, just a driving licence, a clean driving licence. So it could be a potential career option for many people. Hi guys, I thought I'd just show you this book to add to your collection. The New Driver's Handbook. It's a 3-in-1 book and it's got some pretty good reviews from a driving examiner and a driving instructor. It has over 800 practice theory test questions, common driving test faults, driving test general tips, and advice on dealing with nerves on the big day. Finally, it has tips for after you've passed your test, including vehicle maintenance and driving abroad. You can find a link to this book in the description below. Now, back to the video. So, what are the DVSA doing? They're going to be opening 10 temporary theory test centres. Doesn't sound many, but hopefully it will have a good effect. There are rumours of theory tests being conducted at home, and they are just rumours, nothing officially confirmed. The DVSA aim to do an extra 110,000 theory tests per month, and they aim to clear the backlog of theory tests by the end of August. And a new booking system opens in July for September bookings. Practical tests are going to be conducted 7 days a week. Now, this is quite unusual, as in the past, practical tests have almost never taken place on Sundays. They often took place on Saturdays, but only at certain test centres when overtime was available for the examiners. But the DVSA are saying they're going to be doing that all the time, essentially. And they aim to clear the backlog of practical tests in 12 months. So, what can you do? You might have heard that the DVSA are not going to extend the theory test certificates. It's basically government legislation and laws, and the government aren't willing to change anything. So, what you can do is those who have got Marmalade provisional insurance can get a refund of their expired theory test certificates. And this applies to theory test certificates that expired between 23rd of March 2020 and 30 days after driving lessons resume, which at the moment will be the 12th of May. 30 days after the lessons resume. Lessons resume on the 12th of April, so end date for this offer is the 12th of May. You could also find a short notice practical test cancellation using software like Driving Test Cancellations for All. You can find more information in the description, including 20% off driving test cancellations for all. The driving test cancellation for all software is really good. I've used it many times in the past to help my students, and it's always found them an earlier test. Obviously, given the current situation, I'm not sure how reliable it's going to be. However, they do give you your money back if they can't find you an earlier test. And you can also set it to only find tests at certain test centres, certain days, certain times of the week, etc, etc. The next thing is own your learning. What I mean by that is be proactive on your lessons. Ask questions, want to learn, want to be a safe driver. Go and do some private practice if you can, to reinforce what you've learned in your lessons. Revise and reflect in between your lessons, perhaps by watching YouTube videos, or perhaps by writing notes or drawing diagrams. I've got a student at the moment who does this. We record her lessons, when of course they can go ahead, and then she watches them back at home and writes notes. So she is really owning her learning, which is really going to help her to need fewer lessons and increase her chance of passing her driving test the first time. Always drive like you're on a driving test, particularly when you're doing your private practice. Often when doing private practice, people's standards tend to slip, and then this means the private practice isn't really helpful. So when you're doing your private practice, drive like you're on your test, drive to the best of your ability. If we can increase the pass rate for the driving test and theory test, then it's going to reduce the time it's going to take to clear the backlog. I know it's a big ask, but do your best. Really get stuck into your driving lessons and your theory test revision. So let's increase that pass rate. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe this video and feel free to share it with your friends.